Welcome back, everyone. Oz here, and today I've got some r/AmITheDevil for you all. As per usual, I'll be reading the posts, giving you my own opinion, and I hope you do the same down in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Cross-posted from r/PettyRevenge. You wanted last-minute service? You get last-minute results. Nothing worse than that last-minute asshole expecting NASCAR service 10 minutes before closing time. He has a huge nail in his tire and needed it changed after we shut the compressors off, which we drain every night because we just do. Shit Jeep McQueen wanted to change his tire right then and there. We quoted him $400 to get him to fuck off to another shop. Unfortunately for him, the shop that would have done it in 10 minutes shut down after some dumbasses swatted them. So it's other small car repair shops, car dealers, pet boys, and then us. He called our bluff and offered $200 cash on the spot. We told him we'll do it if we have a tire. His tire is a 260/70-17. We had matching U set, and I wasn't about to break it up since he didn't specify truck tires. I gave him the option of a 225/60-17, which he took. In non-car people terms, we put a donut spare on a monster truck. Not only will it drive like shit, but it's gonna fuck up his other 3 good tires. He was in a rush, so we half-assed pretty much all the steps, including balancing the wheel. We made him sign the waiver, and he was off. My friend and I couldn't stop laughing that this dude changed a whole repairable tire for a shitty cheap tire, and since he signed a waiver, we're off the hook. Anyway, you go, left pulling Jeep. I took the tire with the nail home, and I'll have it patched and throw it on a spare wheel for when I go off-roading again. Dude, fuck you. Guy comes into the store, in a rush, 10 minutes before close, which, yeah, does suck. But he was in a shit situation and desperate to be back on the road for who knows why. But shit happens. He was in a bind. So what did you do? You fucking conned him. You purposely jacked up the price, you took a good tire home that you plan on personally using, and not only that, you put his life in danger, but also every person on the road who's around him. Like, I'm sure as hell glad that you're laughing because the people you just put in danger certainly fucking aren't. Also, by the way, that waiver doesn't protect you from negligence or purposely fucking someone over, by the way. And guess what you did? You posted this on Reddit, and it's been archived, you dumb idiot. Like, I can't explain the gravity of what he's admitting to here. He is actively admitting to the fact that he is putting people's lives at risk and laughing about it. This isn't petty revenge or any type of revenge. This is you just being a piece of shit to someone in a bind. Yeah, it could be argued that it sucks they showed up 10 minutes before closing, but shit happens. You could have just told him your equipment was off. But no, you made the active choice to do what you did and put someone's life in danger. Cross-posted from r/AmITheAsshole. Am I the asshole for canceling my daughter's therapy because she has bad grades? My daughter, 14, had anxiety problems ever since she was little, but it was not severe. 3 months ago, my daughter changed drastically. She stopped eating, talking to us or her friends, and her marks dropped. We were really concerned, and her teachers strongly suggested we take her to therapy, which we did, and she was diagnosed with severe depression and social anxiety, which was expected. The therapy sessions looked like they helped her well. In the first month, she already began making progress and started talking to us and her friends again, and is eating whatever her mother is cooking. We are really happy to see this, and every day, she would get better and better. The thing is, her marks did not. They are terrible, and she ended up barely passing this year. This is what infuriated me and made me cancel her therapy sessions. I know to some it sounds terrible, but paying $120 per session and seeing no progress in her marks makes me feel like I am seriously wasting my money, now that she returned back to normal. Not only that, but since she really enjoys going to therapy, I think telling her that she needs to get higher marks to continue her therapy sessions will motivate her to study harder, and thus score better marks. My wife disagrees with my logic, and we had a massive argument because of it, which ended up with her saying that she's going to pay from her money, which hurt me, since I see my and her money as ours. My daughter is also really upset on me and was begging me to keep her therapy sessions, but I think I'm going to stick with the plan. Am I the asshole here? Edit. I deeply apologize for my ignorant replies and for hurting so many people. Please know that I had no intention in offending anyone, and it was so upsetting to see how mental illness has affected many of you. I hope you guys can overcome this one day. I have talked to my wife and our therapy sessions will continue. It's fucked up that your first thought was when your daughter started actually getting better, and that because her grades didn't follow that, hey, let me remove the one thing that's actually increasing the quality of her life. Yeah, that'll show her to get better grades. Because now she's gonna have the anxiety if she does poorly on her test, she's gonna get her therapy taken away, which is only going to compound her anxiety issues. And trust me, I understand how important it is to set yourself up for the future with getting good grades. But you should never prioritize your academic achievements over your mental health. That is a road that can lead to countless issues down the line. And the father threatening to strip away the one thing that was improving his daughter's mental health for that academic achievement, that's going to cause a lot of problems. The mother saw that, the mother realized that. The father couldn't even comprehend that until the internet pretty much put him up on a cross. What bothers me, by the way, about that final edit, and this is different from someone who's apologetic and actively seeking to fix their behavior towards their loved ones, is that he was more focused on trying to appease the random mob than he was admitting that what he was doing to his daughter was incorrect. No, wait, sorry, that is not the right word for that. Abusive. And the final line, I have talked to my wife and her therapy sessions will continue. You two already did talk, and your response was that you were more upset about the fact that your wife was willing to pay out of her pocket for your daughter's therapy than anything else in regards to that. Your edit also does not admit any fault of your own with your decisions towards your daughter. Normally when I'm more empathetic and trying to actually talk on someone's level when they fuck up, it's because they have recognized their mistakes and they're willing to own up to that. And I see it as just a waste of time to punch down. OP, on the other hand, seems to be avoiding his own accountability and only admitting any kind of problem with his ignorant replies is when dealing with the people of Reddit and not his own fucking family. Because in the end, OP saw removing his daughter's lifeline as fit punishment for bad grades, and additionally seems to be completely adverse to taking any form of accountability for his actions towards his family. That's my biggest problem here. Originally posted to r/AmITheAsshole. Am I the asshole for not grounding my daughter for pranking her cousin? My wife and I have a 15-year-old daughter, Kelly. Last month, my sister moved in with us with her 8-year-old daughter, Maya. Maya has anxiety, severe enough that she can't be in regular classes at school without a one-on-one aide. She randomly stops speaking for days at a time and sometimes refuses to eat anything except for goldfish and applesauce. Also for days at a time. One habit that she has is she always sleeps with the lights on, sound machine, and the door cracked open. It's also important to know that the light switch and the sound machine are both right next to the door, and the door can be locked/unlocked from the outside without nearly anything. We have the same lock on my wife's office and Kelly's room, and I've seen it opened with a fingernail, a quarter, and a nail file. So it's one of the locks that has like the flathead type surface on the outside. Last week, Kelly decided to play a prank on Maya and turned off the light and sound machine, then quickly locked the door on her way out. Maya freaked out and started screaming, and by the time my sister got to her, she was already hiding under the bed. The next day, my sister came to me calling Kelly a monster and demanding that she be punished. I told her that Kelly is just being a teenager and she won't be punished besides having a talk about going a little too far. That night, my sister left with Maya and refused to tell us where she went. A couple days later, my wife was cleaning the room Maya was staying in and smelled something off. She moved the bed and found vomit in the carpet. We got it professionally cleaned and sent the bill to my sister since it was her child that caused the mess, and she told me to go fuck myself and blocked me. Now I'm having a couple of people text me to tell me I'm raising a monster and that what Kelly did was not okay. Kelly's other aunts and uncles have reached out to her to tell her that she's no longer welcome in their houses because of what happened to Maya. Now I'm wondering if I'm wrong for not punishing her for the prank. So, just to clarify this, your sister has a special needs child with a severe anxiety disorder and specific requirements and needs for them to properly fall asleep. They're also 8 years old. Your teenage daughter unlocked the door, specifically went out of her way to scare and terrorize your niece. Not just a harmless prank, mind you. This was enough for her to be so terrified that she hid under the bed and threw up. And you somehow can't even comprehend that what your daughter did to an 8-year-old as a teenager was wrong. And then the cherry on top of you sending the cleaning bill for something your daughter caused? Have her fucking pay for it. She's the one who unlocked and broke into your niece's room and purposely targeted the 2 things she needs to sleep well at night. Cross-posted from Ask Reddit. My son has been giving me the silent treatment. Am I a bad parent for not giving a shit whatsoever? So my 16-year-old son and I had a big fight about a week ago, and after that, he stopped talking to me. He stopped answering his cell phone and made sure he ate outside every night before coming home. Now he works part-time, so he has his own spending money, so I don't have to take care of his daily expenses. It's been a week, and usually when he did that in the past, I would back down. But this time, I just don't give a shit whatsoever. I can see that he's trying hard to stay silent, but not interacting with him frees me up a lot of time that I can just sit and watch TV or go shopping at the mall. Hell, I don't even have to cook dinner since he stopped eating at home because my workplace provides dining services. My husband thinks I'm a bad parent for not backing down this time because my son stopped talking to him as well, since he sided with me during the said argument. But I just genuinely do not care whether or not he speaks or not. Now Reddit, am I really a bad parent? Edit, so as far as the Reddit consensus goes, hubby should apologize for the slap. Whoa, what in the fuck? That's a fucking bombshell to drop. Good God, where did that come from? Hubby should apologize for the slap. Certainly we'll talk him into that after hearing the rationale from Redditors. I agree that physical violence does not resolve any problems. Son deserves to spend his money the way he wants. I'm still debatable on that part since he sleeps in my house, uses my electricity, and I have to do his laundry, clean his room, etc. I still don't think he has the right to complain yet. We should back down before it's too late. I don't want to create the notion that silent treatment equals winning for him. If and only if we really come down to that, how should we approach to him? Second edit. Talk to hubby on the phone. He agrees to apologize and rethink over his stupid decision, leaning towards drafting a policy that allots a mandatory part of his money every paycheck out of direct deposit for savings, and then let him do whatever the hell he wants with the rest. Should I request my son to apologize for the silent treatment if we back down on him? Third edit before I take off for a while. Girl de Jour's today's comment really gave me another perspective to look at my son's doings. I'd rather throw that $450 out of my mind and mend the relationship with my son. Since he won't answer my call, I'll lure him back by inviting his best friends over for dinner. Then, after they leave, we'll sit down with him and talk. However, I will tell him firm and clear that we apologize not because he's used the silent treatment, but because we rethought of our actions in handling the matter. Policy proposed in the second edit will stand. So thankfully, the person who cross-posted this, not the person who posted the original post on Ask Reddit, Fit Humor 5022, gave some additional context to what in the hell was going on. Here is OP's comments where she finally reveals why the son isn't talking to them anymore. Silly stuff. I opened a credit card with an authorized user to him. I kept the credit limit very low, under $500, so he'd be the person solely responsible to pay for the expenses he has, and it builds his credit score. Last month, his bill raked up pretty high, close to $450, because he got on a road trip with his friends to Canada, and I just kind of told him that it's simply stupid to spend your money that way, and he just didn't listen and said I don't understand him, blah 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 blah, and how I don't pay for his expenses anymore. Then my husband stepped in, and he's physical sometimes when it comes to discipline, when things got heated and one slap on the face ended a 3-hour conversation, and he stopped talking to us since then. Also, according to her many comments, the kid works and pays for all his stuff, and that's why she's trying to steal money from him at 16. OP is a So, the slap, by the way, that is a perfect example of missing reasons. Why is my son giving me the silent treatment? Actually, you know what? I don't care that he's giving me the silent treatment. It gives me so much more time. I just don't understand why he's doing it, though. And later it's casually dropped as just kind of like yeah, my husband hit him when we had an argument about him going to Canada with his friends and spending $450 on travel expenses. It's also incredibly telling that OP here wasn't even willing to have a smidge of retrospection on what they were doing, and it took strangers on Reddit for them to even begin to comprehend or see what they had done wrong. Cross-posted from r/advice. My son refuses contact with us. I am a father to a now 38-year-old man. My wife and I had him when we were 16. Growing up for him was a bit of a challenge. Unfortunately, his mother started suffering from mental health issues, and I became a drug addict. I'd say it affected me and my wife quite badly. There were times we would sometimes lose our tempers and fight. We never physically abused our son. We were sometimes short of money, so we struggled financially. It hit me and my wife hard. Apparently, he never got enough love, care, or attention. When he turned 18, he decided to move out with his girlfriend and told us he wanted nothing to do with us, which broke our hearts. We put a roof over his head, and yet he cuts us off. Yes, we had our issues, but I was hoping we could work through them. Him and his girlfriend moved far away and left no address or contact details. He said if we ever contacted us, he would take legal action. A couple of months ago, I managed to find out through a relative that he had moved back to near our area. We decided we should maybe knock on his door. Hopefully, he would have grown up a bit and moved on. When he opened the door, he went ballistic, screaming at us to go away and that he would call the police if we stayed. Since then, they've moved again. I do not understand how someone could hold a grudge for that long. We did our best. He got a roof over his head and food. Yet, he still treats us like this. Me and his mother have gone through enough. Advice, please? So you would lose your tempers and fight, but never physically abused your son. What about verbal abuse? What did you say to him, specifically? Because that's the big part of this here. Missing reasons and all that. It very much leads me to believe that while you were a drug addict by your own admission, that you said or did something to your son to cause this rift, and you're unwilling to actually acknowledge this. That's the impression that I get here. Now, there's also an additional reason why this post ended up in AmITheDevil, and it's because of his comments. And there's a comment thread here that I'm going to be reading through that perfectly just encapsulates what happened. Weasel Wheeze comments, "Leave him alone. We put a roof over his head and yet he cuts us off. You did the bare minimum required of a parent. Yes, we had our issues, but I was hoping we could work through them. It's good if your wife is getting treatment and you're getting sober. That doesn't take away from the hurt you caused him. Me and his mother have gone through enough. Think of your child instead of how much you suffered from your own choices. Work on yourself and realize he doesn't owe you anything." The OP responds, "I could have kicked him out on the streets. He should be lucky I didn't do that. His mother still suffers from the issues and I still have addiction issues. I made it a point to never do it in the same room as him. We raised him and we made sure he didn't go homeless. He owes me an apology for treating us like shit." Weasel Wheeze responds, "I could have kicked him out on the streets. He should be lucky I didn't do that." No, you couldn't have, at least in the US. It's illegal to abandon your minor child. His mother still suffers from the issue and I still have addiction issues. I made a point to never do it in the same room as him. Gee, you don't do drugs in front of him. Clearly you're the father of the year. Instead of blaming him, maybe consider if this is the life you want to choose or if it's time for sobriety. We raised him and we made sure he didn't go homeless. That's your responsibility as a parent. If you didn't want that commitment, you should have put him up for adoption. He didn't ask for you to be his parents. He owes me an apology for treating us like shit. He really doesn't. You owe him an apology for being an addict and bringing your own issues that got in the way of parenting. It sounds like he's just trying to do the best he can to move on." OP responded, and whatever he responded with was so nasty, it got removed by the moderators. Weasel Wheeze responds, "Your son's last words to you, right? If you want a relationship with your son, stop blaming him and start fixing yourself." The OP to the post responds, "Maybe he should stop being such a narcissistic fool. He's caused so much pain since disappearing." Weasel Wheeze responds, "Maybe he should stop being such a narcissistic fool." It's so nice to see your son still talks about you. A step closer to reconciliation. If you want a relationship with your son, you have to earn it. He doesn't want to be around a drug addict who blames others. Get yourself in a program or accept that your choices are more important than being with him. To which the OP responds, "Maybe he should consider that blood's thicker than water. Family's important." And that's where the thread mostly dies off at. And, we've had this conversation on this channel before. That's a misattributed quote. It's actually the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb, meaning that found family is more important than the family you're born with. So, a bit ironic that it's being used here. But the reason why I read the comment thread is because it does show that OP is just unwilling to even admit any fault on his side. He seems to almost entirely expect his son to just simply move on from whatever happened in the past, and to forgive his father without his father admitting any kind of harm or pain or suffering that was caused during his upbringing. If you want to repair that relationship, you have to earn it, and it starts with accountability for the choices you made. Cross-posted from r/AmITheAsshole. Am I the asshole for retaking bridesmaid photos without one particular bridesmaid? Okay, so I'm using a throwaway just to be extra safe. I, 23 female, got married 2 weeks ago to my, 24 male, husband, and it was so great. I had 5 bridesmaids plus my maid of honor, but I'll just refer to all of them as bridesmaids. Between the ceremony and the reception, we took photos, as you do. The problem started when it was time to take photos with my bridesmaids. One of my bridesmaids, 23 female, and who I've been friends with since college, is super tall and has a muscular build. I'll call her N. N really stands out next to me and my other bridesmaids. She was also wearing a patterned dress when I specifically asked all my bridesmaids to wear solid colors. They gotta pick their own dresses and just had to match the color I picked ahead of time. So between the dress and her build, N really stood out in the photos and was throwing them all off. After the first round of pictures, we all gathered around the photographer to see what we had so far, and I swear, everyone had the same thought simultaneously. Of course, nobody said anything because she's our friend and we wouldn't want to be rude. I would have just sucked it up, but N herself turned to me and said, "I understand if you want to take some without me." She didn't seem sad or anything, and she was even laughing a little, so I told her I thought it was a good idea, and me and my other bridesmaids retook the photos without her. Fast forward to about an hour into the reception, N finds me and congratulates me and says something came up and she needs to leave early. So we say goodbye, and that's it. So now it's been 2 weeks since my wedding and I haven't heard from N at all. But that's not strange since I've hardly heard from anyone since they know I'm on my honeymoon, lol. The photographer sent me the finished photos yesterday and I posted my favorites on Facebook. I didn't include any with N since I was only posting like 30 of the absolute best ones. Pretty quickly after posting them, N messaged me saying how hurt she was that I didn't post any with her in them, and that I took photos without her in the first place. I apologized, of course, and told her I would post the rest of the photos in a few days. I also reminded her that she was the one who suggested I take some without her. She called me a narcissist and selfish, and now she's not responding to me at all. I'm so confused since she's literally told me I could retake them without her. I also don't think it's such a crime for me to want my wedding photos to be perfect. My husband also agrees with me. However, I can tell she's really hurt, and she's not the type to get worked up like this over nothing. Am I the asshole? Edit, I posted the photos with her in them. I feel like what really gets me in this one is the talk about her actual, bodily appearance. Not just the dress, but, going into the fact that she's super tall and has a muscular build, and that she'll stand out next to their bridesmaids. OP just comes across as being really shallow in this, and on top of that, I really struggled to understand how OP can be so oblivious as to how her actions would have hurt her friend. This is one that I'm probably going to leave to a majority of the audience for, just because I'm not familiar with bridesmaids traditions, and maybe, some people might find her actions to be justified here, because, I don't know. I think OP was being shallow, and perhaps they're genuinely just oblivious as to the pain they caused their friend. But that's my opinion. Cross-posted from r/true off my chest. My fiancé sided against me in a family argument. She picked my sister's side over mine. I'm second-guessing our relationship now over this. My fiancé sided with my sister over me in a family argument, and it hurts. I, 24 male, will call my fiancé Katie, 24 female, for this post. Our relationship has basically been blown up because we had a huge argument after she said my sister was right. Me and Katie have been together for almost 3 years. We have lived together for 10 months and we got engaged almost 6 months ago. We've never had an argument like this, and now she won't even talk to me. The situation with my sister doesn't affect Katie or us together at all, so I don't know why this happened. I thought it was a given that couples side with each other and stay out of arguments that the other person has with their own family, but Katie has full-out sided with my sister. After me and Katie argued about her not backing me up, she went to stay with her cousin. This is a time I really needed her because of what's going on with my sister, but she hasn't been there at all. I'm second-guessing myself if I should even marry her now. I just needed to vent somewhere since my fiancé has basically abandoned me. This entire situation hurts so much, and the crazy thing is, I still miss her. I, 24 male, have 2 sisters, Jamie, 29 female, and Rose, 28 female. Jamie is addicted to drugs. None of us know how it happened. Jamie went to university on a scholarship. She was going to be a doctor, but after her first year of uni, she lost her scholarship and was expelled because of bad academic performance and other issues. She had started using drugs sometime before her first year of university. She would have been 18 to 19 years old then. I'm not in denial about Jamie having a drug addiction. Despite us helping her go for rehabilitation several times, she has not stopped using drugs. Jamie has turned into a person that no one recognizes. She lies, she steals, she's violent, she's angry. Our family is desperate to help her. I've taken money from my savings to help pay for rehabilitation. My parents had to sell their house because of the costs. Other family members have helped. We just want Jamie to get better. My other sister, Rose, cut Jamie off when Jamie went back to using drugs after her first time in rehabilitation. They haven't spoken in years. Rose is an engineer. When she graduated from university, she got a ring. The ring is given to all new engineers when their career begins. Last year, Jamie stole Rose's ring, and that's what started all of this. Jamie didn't find any other valuables, and she wasn't able to take Rose's car since it's not an automatic. We all begged Rose not to report Jamie to the police. I offered to buy her a new ring, and so did our parents. The ring is not even valuable or costly at all. Rose opted to report it to the police, and they treated it as a burglary. Rose was also angry at our parents because Jamie took the spare key Rose had given them, and our parents never told her. The only things Jamie took was the ring and the key, but she was arrested for burglary and the theft shortly after the police recovered the ring she sold. We were furious at Rose, but she said Jamie deserved it. I couldn't imagine calling the police on family, and Jamie has stolen money and things from me before. Jamie was originally released leading up to her case in court, but she continued to use drugs, she lied to the police, and she assaulted 2 police officers. She committed other burglaries. If Jamie stole from strangers, my parents would deal with it privately, but the police intervened since Jamie was on release. She was taken back into custody until her trial. Rose took a contract job in the United States for several months because she was so angry at Jamie and us. She's come back in January, and now she testified at the trial and said things about Jamie that, in my mind, are unforgivable. My argument with Rose was over her calling the police and saying Jamie was dead to her among the other things. It's because of Rose that Jamie was convicted of several charges and was sentenced to prison last week. I'm so angry at her, and so are my parents. The police never would have been paying attention to Jamie if it wasn't for Rose, and it never would have led to the other serious charges Jamie got when she was on release. I've never been so angry in my life. Katie says Rose is right about everything she said about Jamie, and that I should have called the police about Jamie's theft or violence, and she would have told me to call the police if she had known about what Jamie has done to me. I can't imagine calling the police on family no matter what they have done. I will always do everything in my power to help Jamie. I'm afraid Jamie will get hurt while in prison. It wasn't a good situation the last time she was in there. She's not a fighter or a mean person. She doesn't belong there. Me and my parents and other family are going to phone her, write to her, and visit as much as possible, but Katie is against that too. I'm not saying Jamie is perfect, but she's family. I'm angry at Rose, and I can't believe Katie sided with her over me. To me, in my opinion, with how much empathy I normally will give to someone, there is only so much you can try to do before you do have to just step away. OP's family tried to finance Jamie's rehabilitation numerous times to the point where they even had to sell their house to put her through it. And no progress seemed to have been made from their efforts. I don't get the impression from how OP wrote this that Jamie is actively trying to fix herself, that she's just relying on others to try and fix herself for her. If Jamie was actively putting herself in a position where she was genuinely trying but kept hitting setbacks because that happens, that's something else. I still think she should be held accountable for her actions, but there is a fine difference between someone who is actively trying to help themselves but keeps hitting bumps in the road compared to someone who just seems to be taking advantage of their family for everything they have and not really caring. Because unfortunately, that's the impression that I get from Jamie. Jamie's learned that she can steal from family and there won't be any repercussions, that her parents will bail her out, that her brother will be fine with her stealing money from him. I mean, hell, she even tried to steal a fucking car. But for some reason, Jamie just gets a free pass on all of her actions, while Rose is blamed for taking action and actually protecting herself? Like, I'm left agreeing with your fiance on this one. No matter what, Jamie should be responsible for her own actions, but right now it seems that OP and his parents are giving Jamie an open free pass to do whatever she wants because she's in a tough spot. And it's beginning to affect the people around them. I sincerely do hope that Jamie can get the help that she needs. But OP needs to stop making excuses for his sister and blaming other people for the outcomes of his sister's actions. You can only sweep so much under the rug before it starts to get lumpy. And now, circling back to the beginning of the story, I think it's crazy that you're considering leaving your fiance over this, because you gotta remember, in her point of view, she just found out that Jamie has also stolen from you guys, as well as your sister Rose. She probably is feeling a lot less safe in her own home knowing that Jamie stole the key from her parents to her sister's home to break in. What's stopping her from doing the same to you guys? Because you've made it very clear you won't stop her when she steals money from you. I don't blame your fiance for siding with your sister on this one. Don't forget, this is brought to you by GamerSups. Use code ODDS at checkout. It's basically a caffeine powder that you put in your water, and I actually really like it. I use this on a daily basis. Don't forget that every purchase you make using code ODDS directly supports the channel. And if you want a personal recommendation from me, I would either recommend the Soda Pressing Pear or Dragon Fruit Punch. Those two are currently my favorite flavors. And as a note, once we sell a certain amount of stuff, I get my own flavor and my own cup, and you all know I'm gonna choose some degenerate shit that's gonna make their PR team squirm. My goal is to make them regret partnering with me. So please, use code ODDS at checkout to make my dream come true of making a PR team squirm.